Hey all, Just Jess here for a special episode of on-the-fly interviews from the South Jersey Children's Book Festival, hosted by Inkwood Books. I got to chat with some very cool authors of picture books, chapter books, and even some graphic guides. All of the names and links are in the show notes, so please hit them up and order some books. Welcome to Booked All Night, the podcast where hot takes meet craft notes and no one gets enough sleep. I'm Jess.
I'm Katie.
I'm Julia.
I'm Maggie. Get ready for unhinged hot takes,
A whole lot of books,
midnight giggles,
and zero shame. Grab your blankets, booklets, it's time to get booked all night. So first, can you tell us who you are and where to find you?
Hey, my name is Veronica Mang. I'm a writer and illustrator of picture books and chapter books. And I'm online at Instagram, Veronica_Mang, and veronicamang.com. Those are good spots to find me.
Very fun. And what is the elevator pitch for one of your books that you have here today?
All right, I'll talk about my most recent book. This is my debut picture book, nonfiction picture book called Copeland, A Story About America. So this is all about American composer Aaron Copland, who is sort of credited for finding our American musical sound. But there's so much more to the story. So you would definitely recognize his music, even if you're not familiar with his name. It sort of sounds like cowboy music and the Wild West plains, but Copeland was a first-generation American, so child of immigrants, born and raised in Brooklyn, a pretty openly gay man, born in 1900, so that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
And he came up in the labor movements, so his music is an intentional fusion of our different cultures. Jazz, folk music, and it was intentionally made to be more accessible than ever before. So that's sort of the origin to our American sound, and I think that's really beautiful. So
That's really cool. I love that.
yeah.
And then what is your preference for bigger kids stories? Do you like standalones, duologies, trilogies, long series?
Oh, I mean, I think a series is a lot of fun. It's a great way to get to know a character and you can really live in their world for a lot longer. And if a kid's into it, it just is a gateway to keep reading without much entry effort. Yeah.
That's fair. And then would you rather make chapter art or write chapter titles?
Ooh, chapter art for sure. Yeah, the illustrator in me, definitely, I'll do the art.
Yeah, chapter titles are hard, man.
Yeah, that sounds hard.
And the last one is, if your book were adapted into a Muppets movie, who does the main cast play?
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so hard. I mean, I guess I'm thinking who would be, for this book, who would be Aaron Copland? I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to say Kermit. Like, I just sort of feel like that's an icon. Copeland's an icon. Maybe Kermit. Yeah, that's a great question. I like that.
I like that.
Fuzzy Mike. I
It
like
is
that
a
Fuzzy
Fuzzy Mike.
Mike. Ooh, hello. This is my first Fuzzy Mike experience.
Oh, that's exciting. I
I'm very
may have
excited.
been fidgeting with these because they're like really soft and fluffy. So tell us who you are and where to find you.
I'm Tracy Batiste. You can find me at tracybatiste.com. I have, on that website, I have not just my books, it also has information for educators, for kids. Kids can come visit my office, and it's a photograph they can click through and see things in my office. There's information for other writers if you want to take different classes. Some of the classes are free. A lot of information for people who are interested in literacy and writing and enjoying books.
That's exciting, especially the stuff for educators, because sometimes that's really hard to find to get stuff in classrooms.
It is indeed. I was a teacher for many years.
Oh, nice.
And then I was a curriculum designer. So I wanted to make sure that my website had a lot of support for educators, because I know it can be hard. And I know how educators are constantly against the clock for being able to get things, and also have no money. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I wanted to make sure there was plenty of stuff there for them.
Lovely. And then what is the elevator pitch for Kid X?
So Kid X is the sequel to Boy 2.0, and it is a story about a boy who discovers very suddenly that he can turn invisible. Why he can turn invisible is the question of the first book. Was he created in a lab? Is he born this way? That's the question of the first book. The question of the second book is, what does a 12-year-old do when they discover they have a superpower? And how much trouble are they going to get into?
I can tell you I would be in a lot of trouble if I found out I had any sort of superpower at 12.
Yeah.
And then what is your preference? Do you prefer standalones, duologies, trilogies, or a big long series?
You know, it sort of depends. I feel like there are some stories that are very, very satisfying within one book. And there are some stories that really have a lot to say and require a lot more books. But I kind of top out at 3. I feel like if I know I'm getting into a series and there's like 10 books in it, each of those books better be a standalone because I might lose interest. You know, like I love series where they're like super, super long. Like I'm part of one of the Kids in Mrs. Z's class authors. Mm-hmm. And the nice thing about that series is, yeah, there are 12 books, but you don't have to read all 12 of them. And so like that works for me. But if I'm going to stick with a character through multiple things, I think a trilogy is right.
That's fair. And then would you prefer to do chapter art or write chapter titles?
Oh my gosh, chapter titles are a nightmare. So definitely chapter art, please. Yeah, please and thank you.
And final question, if your book were adapted into a Muppets movie, who plays the main cast?
Okay, so we're definitely going to have Fozzie Bear. It's going to be Dor, who is Cole's best friend. We're definitely going to have Miss Piggy, probably as Maury. But I'm not sure who would be Cole, because he's definitely not a Kermit, right? He might be like a Ralph. He might be a Ralph. That seems like, you know, because he's sort of calm and sort of, you know, stays behind the scenes, but can be very, very cheeky. So I feel like that is what Cole is like. Yeah.
Fair play. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Pooja Makijani. I live here in New Jersey, and you can find me online at www.poojamakijani.com.
Thank you. And what is the elevator pitch for your book?
My book is called Bread is Love, and it is about a family who makes bread every week. And the bread, and things don't turn out exactly how they expected. But that's okay, because bread is delicious.
Bread is delicious. I could live on bread, yes. And then what is your preference? Do you prefer standalones, duologies, trilogies, or a big long series?
Ooh, that's a good question. I like coming back to characters again and again, so I think I like big long series.
Big long series. And would you prefer to do chapter art or write chapter titles?
Ooh, write chapter titles.
Really? You are the first person to be like, yes, chapter titles. I think chapter titles are a nightmare to come up with for each one. That's insane. And the final question, if your book were adapted into a Muppets movie, who would play the cast?
Oh my goodness. That is really hard. I think I love Gonzo. So I think Gonzo would be my main character, would be my narrator. And I think Miss Piggy would be his little sister.
Lovely. Love that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
I'm Jonathan Stutzman. I'm the author of books like the Tiny T-Rex series and Llama Destroys the World, Fitz and Cleo, lots of other books. Lots of books for kids. And you can find me on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. Generally, it's under The Dust Dances 2, T-O-O. So, or just look up my name.
Okay, that's fair. And what is the elevator pitch for Tiny T-Rex and the Impossible Hug?
Well, Tiny is the smallest of dinos, and he has the tiniest of arms, which is difficult for him then to hug. And now his best friend is feeling down, and he needs to learn how to hug to cheer up his best friend. So he'll go through any obstacle to try to learn how to hug with his tiny arms.
That's adorable. I love that. What is your preference? Do you prefer standalones, duologies, trilogies, or a big long series?
Well, for reading, it's really fun to get into a series. But for creating, I really like standalones because you have the idea and you fulfill it to the end. You get that all completed, and then you can move on to new ideas.
Yeah.
But I have lots of series. So in that way, I've grown to learn to like them because now I get to have this character that I do love and know and try to think of new challenges and obstacles for them to go on. And I think kids really love to read series because they get to have that friend that they kind of keep going on adventures with. So it's been fun for me to kind of learn how to write one.
That's exciting. I love that. Do you prefer to do chapter art, or would you prefer to write chapter titles?
Definitely do the writing because I don't illustrate. I would love to work on my illustration to get to the point where I would illustrate a book because I do love sketching, but I definitely would love to write a chapter book series. I've worked on a few, but I haven't gotten any published yet.
It's exciting though. Chapter books are hard. All the picture books and chapter books, I feel like they're the hardest ones for kid lit because they're so confined.
Yeah, that's really hard. That I found when writing chapter books is I have lots of ideas. I'm like, ooh, I can use lots of words now because it's a lot longer than a picture book, which I normally write. But then I get too verbose. I use too many words because it's still very succinct and you got to make every word count, even though it is a few more hundred words than a picture book would be.
Yeah.
So
I think people don't realize that. Like, it is just a few hundred more. Like, that's it. You don't get any elbow room in those.
It's always about less is more and
Yes.
getting to your point with kids. And sometimes I even have to reteach that to myself while writing picture books. It's really hard to do.
Yeah. And my last question is, if your book were adapted into a Muppets movie, who would play the cast?
I love the Muppets. So I guess I would have Tiny T-Rex play himself. And then I would have, in the book series, he has an Auntie Junip that's kind of all over the place and really funny. I would have Miss Piggy play Auntie Junip, and I would have Kermit play Tiny T-Rex's dad, and they're sort of the same shape and coloring, so that works really well. And then I'm trying to think, best friend Pointy, maybe Gonzo, because they're Pointy and Gonzo are a little bit, they're both trying to find their place in the world, and Tiny would be best buddies with them. So that's kind of what I would think off the top. Maybe Rizzo the Rat could be Tiny T-Rex's Stuffy Bob, because he's really funny. He's not in too much, but when he's in there, he always is gold, just like Rizzo.
Rizzo is the best, yes.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for talking with me.
I am Artie. I don't have to lean forward. I am Artie Bennett, and where can I be found? I live in Brooklyn, New York, but my books can be found wherever good books are sold, as they say, but they're popular throughout the country. As a matter of fact, the true story of Zippy Chippy, one of my children's books, is very big in Kentucky, horse country.
Oh, I believe that. Can you give us the elevator pitch for Zippy Chippy?
Sure. Zippy Chippy is a racehorse, was a racehorse. Sadly, he passed away 3 years ago, just days shy of his 31st birthday.
Wow.
It's old for a horse.
Yeah.
But Zippy Chippy was descended from the greatest horses ever to run. Man o' War, Bold Ruler, Northern Dancer, Buck Passer. And he was expected to be just as great a racehorse as they. One problem, though, he had too much mischief in his soul to be a disciplined racehorse. He would nip at the butts of the other horses as they ran by. He would stop and smell the roses. Or, if not the roses, the cupcakes that were in the air. We see in the book that he had a fondness for cupcakes. So Zippy Chippy ran 100 races, lost every one, but became famous for losing, was in the Guinness Book of World Records, became more beloved than ever as a losing racehorse. And people were betting on Zippy Chippy to win, even though he had lost 80 races, 85 races. So that's Zippy Chippy. It's a moving story and teaches us never to give up on our dreams.
Yes.
We got the butt book here, boys. Please take a look at the butt book. Kids say the butt book is the funniest book in the world. You be the judge.
What is the butt book about?
The butt book.
It's about butts.
It's all about butts, and not the grammatical butts, but it's about animal butts and some people butts and the variety of butts. and why we use our butts. There are foreign words for the butt. It's a Dr. Seuss type book. As a matter of fact, I modeled it after Dr. Seuss's The Eye Book, the Ear Book, the Nose Book, the Tooth Book.
They were missing a butt book.
It's the one he never got around to writing. Someone had to do it.
Someone had to do it, and I don't take all copies of your butt book.
You can never have enough copies of it.
We want to get the butt book.
I would love to sign the butt
very
book.
cool.
One butt book coming up, and who should I sign to?
Who do we want it to be for? Ben?
Ben.
All right, Ben.
One butt book for Ben.
One butt book for Ben.
Ben gets the butt book.
I know they'll have a
Buttload of fun.
Buttload of fun. I love it.
What is your preference? Do you prefer standalones, duologies, trilogies, or big long series?
I would say standalones. Standalones, some things maybe are best just standing alone. One and done.
I'm getting more into standalones and like a duology, just something shorter and just
Yeah.
I can be done with it.
Yeah.
Do you prefer chapter art or chapter titles?
Chapter art or chapter titles. I love good art. As a matter of fact, I didn't choose, but the art director at the publisher chose different illustrators for all my books. And I was actually given a choice of 3. And in each case, the one I thought might be the best was the one the art director thought as well. And I love their work. As a matter of fact, Mike Lester, the genius illustrator of the Butt Book, won the Reuben Award given by the National Cartoonists Society for these very illustrations. So you can find him online in a tuxedo, proudly displaying his copy of the Butt Book.
My final question is, if any of your books were adapted into a Muppets movie, who would play the cast?
Wow. Well, if Zippy Chippy were adapted, who would make a good horse?
Snuffleupagus is not a Muppet.
It would have to be Big Bird. Big Bird as the protagonist, Zippy Chippy, because Big Bird was kind of silly, right? Zippy Chippy was known for his silliness. I'd go with that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
So first, tell me who you are and where we can find you.
I am Anne Lambalay. I'm an author and an illustrator, and I illustrate both for my own stories and for other people's stories as well. And I live in Philadelphia, kind of near Eastern State Penitentiary, and you can find my work online through Instagram at Anne Lambalay or at my website, annelambalay.com, which is ANNELAMBELET, which is not the intuitive way to spell Lambalay.
Secondly, what is the elevator pitch for either We Are Dwarf Span Whales or I'm a Dumbo Octopus?
So I'm a Dumbo Octopus is the first in a series of marine life graphic guides, so I'll pitch that one. But basically, the Dumbo Octopus is a real species of octopus that cannot do a lot of the things that octopuses normally do that we think of, like it can't ink and it can't change color. And so he spends kind of the whole book with an identity crisis, like, I'm just a Dumbo. But then he figures out through an exploration of facts about all the other octopuses, what makes him specifically cool and his species of octopus very cool, which, spoiler, is that they live like thousands of feet deep. They're like one of the deepest dwelling octopuses in the ocean. So you don't really need to ink or change color if you live in pitch black environments.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's absolutely true. And then while you are reading, what is your preference? Do you like standalones, duologies, trilogies, or big series?
Oh man, that is a tough one. I think like a trilogy is probably like best suited to my endurance of like how long I can stick with something before a plot resolves. But I do really love like fantasy sci-fi, particularly The Everlasting was a book that I just read recently by Alex E. Harrow, probably my favorite book of last year, which is just a standalone sci-fi like romance novel.
Love it. Love it.
Not related at all to my work with kids.
then do you prefer to do chapter art or chapter titles?
Like if I'm brainstorming,
Yeah.
like do like just a piece of art for the chapter. I think probably that. Yeah. I'm like primarily an illustrator before being an author, so yeah.
That makes sense. Also, chapter titles are really hard.
I appreciate a book where they're just numbers.
Spot illustrations over titles any day.
Yeah.
If your book, this is the last question, if your book were adapted into a Muppets movie,
Oh
who
my
would
God.
the main cast play?
Oh my gosh. I feel like I've thought this out so many times for Pride and Prejudice and Lord of the Rings, so had it off my own books. Well, I feel like they could be Muppets in their own right, generally, because they are animals. I forget, Pepe Le Pew could probably make an appearance in the books as well. But I feel like Dumbo Octopus really has like more Kermit energy of being like a little bit soft-spoken and like everybody else is kind of better than me, like has a little bit of an inferiority complex. So I don't know. Fozzie Bear is my favorite. I don't know. I don't know where he fits in under the sea, but he's my spirit animal.
Thanks for staying up with us. Follow us on Instagram and Threads at Booked All Night Pod. Drop a comment to let us know what you thought of today's show, and join our Discord server for giveaways, excerpts, and more. It's still in the works, but we're aiming for 100 members. Catch our live author interviews on YouTube and leave a question for our guests on our Discord server. Check out our shop and website at bookedallnight.co. And if you're loving the chaos, don't forget to rate us 5 stars. Until next time, booklets, and remember, stay booked all night.